Good evening. It's Thursday Night Live here on the Mind and Manna channel, and I'm so pleased to be here with you again this evening. I've missed a couple of weeks. I've been traveling, spending some time with family, and I'm doing my best to get back on a regular schedule. And tonight I'm really excited because I have a great guest who I know that you're going to love hearing about. We met a year or two ago. Time has gone so fast. I don't remember, but it was a wonderful meeting, and uh, I think you're really going to enjoy tonight's guest. Before I begin, I just want to do a little housekeeping and ask you, if you have not liked uh, or subscribed to this channel, please do so. We talk about issues affecting Black women 55 and older who are interested in living up to a more intentional way of life that includes freedom, rest, travel, and ease. And if any of these topics sound good to you, financial self-care, moving abroad, developing community, then please consider subscribing to this channel. Please like and do comment. Um, let's see. So we're broadcasting live tonight on YouTube. This is also going to be on my Facebook channel, Mind and Manna, and also on my personal Facebook page. Uh, if you happen to catch this on the replay, please let us know. So tonight, we are, I'm just delighted to have Diamond Crystal on as our guest. Diamond Crystal, aka the Gallavanting Grandma, is our guest this evening. I'm going to have her come on and introduce herself to you and how we met. So let me see if I can bring her in right now. Let's see if we can do it. Technical difficulty. Okay, Diamond. So I'm trying to get you in here. So let's see. Here we go. Hold on. Okay. Come on in.
I think I'm in.
Okay, let's see.
Am I
I
in?
think she's coming in. You are in.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank
Yay.
you
Thank
so
you
much.
so
How are
much.
you, my friend?
I'm doing great. It's good to see you.
It is fantastic to see you. It is fantastic to be seen. Thank you so much for the invitation. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You are so welcome. It's my pleasure. We may have a little bit of a delay, so I may have to slow things down a bit. And if we get any freezing going on, we're just going to keep talking until one of us can catch up. How does
There
that
you go.
sound?
That sounds absolutely perfect. I'm right with you. So, thank you again so much for the opportunity. I appreciate it very much. And as you already mentioned, I am Diamond Crystal. I am the Gallavanting Grandma, trademarked. And what I do is I consider myself an intentional connector and a travel ambassador for Black women over 55 who are looking to embrace a new journey. And that journey does not have to be physical, it could be emotional, mental, financial, but a new phase in their lives with grace and ease. So I think we're on the same page. We always have been. So I'm just thrilled to be
We
here.
absolutely are. We absolutely are on the same page. And I wanted to go back to how we first met in Chapala. You were in Chapala for a sojourn doing a house sit, and we met, and it was just a wonderful connection. What is fascinating to me, and I think would be fascinating to our viewers, is when we met, you were in the middle of a great deal of change.
Ooh,
Um,
yes.
so, can you talk a little bit about where you were at that time and what you were facing?
Absolutely. You are absolutely right. I was in the midst of a new journey. It was unplanned. Um, I will say this is 2022 when we met. It's 4 years ago. I mean, 2 years ago that we met. Um, and at that time, I was coming off of a paid sabbatical, 60-day sabbatical with my then employer. I was going through some healing, dealing with some compound grief. And so I took myself to begin a healing journey to Ecuador. And I thought my plan was in 60 days, I would be all brand new. I would be able to tackle life again the way that I always had and juggle all the hats. And I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Once I started the healing journey, it was like, I am not ready to go back to work. So, like I said, 60 days was granted to me with pay. So I had my laptop, I had my additional electronic equipment. I was getting ready to go back to work. Day 61, day 50, I started breaking out in hives because I just couldn't do it. And I knew I couldn't do it. So I had a conversation with my employer at the time, and I said, I need a little bit more time. And they weren't able or willing to grant that. So I had a very hard decision to make. I was newly divorced. My parents had just earned their wings, so I was orphaned. And yes, my life was in a lot of transition. I just wasn't prepared mentally, emotionally to return to the workplace. It would have been no good for myself or for my employer at the time. With them not being able to extend my time off, they gave me an ultimatum. You either come back or we can't secure we can't guarantee a position for you. I chose my mental health at that point. And so, yeah, it was very frightening. It was extreme. It was the first time in my adult life that I was not gainfully employed. So it was scary. It was then at that point, when they said, well, if you don't come back, you don't have a job. And I'm like, well, I need a job, but I need my mental and emotional health even more. So it was at that point that I remembered house sitting. And I went on the house sitting site that following day and I saw a house sit posted for 5.5 months in Chapala, Mexico. I called one of my sister girls, my prayer warriors, and we prayed over it. If it's for you, it's for you. Please release it. What is released up there is released down here. And next thing I knew, I had an interview and I was on my way to Mexico. So the universe, God, whatever your higher power is, understood my conundrum and just fixed it for me. Just absolutely fixed it. 5.5 months to just figure out my life at that point. And it was the best blessing that I have ever received, really, outside of my daughter. Time to reset.
Ooh, that time to reset, that is so important. And I think that's where many of us as Black women have not had the time, or we have not allowed ourselves the time to pull back and unplug. It's a powerful place to be, but oftentimes we're not afforded that chance, or we don't take that chance because it can be frightening to be out there, just out there. But what I love and what I know about you is that your faith is a very important part of your life. Can you talk a little bit more about how you leaned into that?
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely had to. I am grateful for the ancestors. I come from a long line of faith-based, family members. My great grandfather, my grandfather were both ministers, and started our family church. I grew up in the church, so my faith has been very strong all my life. And I say it's like a muscle. If you don't use your faith muscle, it will atrophy just like any other muscle. And so there are times when the universe
Mm.
requires that you lean into it. You have no choice. I had nothing else to lean on at that point. It was like the job abandoned me. I was no longer married. My parents were no longer on this earth. So it's me and God at that point. So it's faith over fear, and I preach it all the time. I put it on all my posts. If you put your faith in front of your fear, you can continue to move forward. If you don't, you will stay stuck, you will stay depressed, you will not know which way to turn, and you will start feeling empty. But once you exercise that faith muscle, it allows you to move forward. And that's what I did. Lean right into it.
So, as a result of leaning into that diamond, what opportunities did you find were waiting for you as a result of that? As a result of that leap, as a result of that leap of faith, what opportunities abounded for you?
First of all, the opportunity of time, that flexibility, time freedom, just to figure out the rest of my life. Because it was going to obviously look very different from what my life looked like before. It was completely upside down, inside out. So I had the luxury of time. And like you said earlier, as Black women, we don't really have that. We're so busy wearing all the hats that are required, societal expectations, family necessities. We usually come last on the list of things that need to be taken care of. We're usually last. And this time, I was able to put myself first. And I'm talking about for the first time in 58 years, 59 years. I put me before everything and everyone. So that was one of the biggest things that came out of that.
Can you talk a little bit about how your house sitting experience has changed your life?
Exponentially, just exponentially. As I said, the gift from the universe at that time, it came wrapped in a present that I wasn't expecting. And that's what I have to say to anyone who's watching now. Be open to receive in whatever form your gift is presented. It may not look like what you're familiar with. It may not sound like what you're familiar with. House sitting was something I had done a little bit, domestically in the United States. However, I had never had an international house sit before this Chapala, Mexico experience. So it changed my life, that it opened the world to me. Not only did I have that time, flexibility, and freedom, I could continue to dream again. I could dream again, dust that dream of international travel off the shelf. Because when you have life's major changes like death or, divorce or whatever it is that comes up against you at that time, you're trying to figure out, can I still execute the dreams that I had before these changes happen? And house sitting showed me that yes, you can. You can do this on your own. This is an out of the box solution to what was then a problem for me. Like, how do I see the world? I don't have that kind of money. And house sitting allows me to travel the world for the price of an airline ticket. So it changed my life exponentially.
Can you talk a little bit about because you're a full-time house sitter.
I am.
Um, and for many people, that is a very unconventional way of life. It's like you're unmoored. You don't have a foundation or structure. So can you talk to how you handled the expectations and the fears of other people regarding your decisions?
Oh, wow. How much time we got, Sonia? No, just kidding. Everyone thought that I was just going through something. Like, you're gonna get it together and you're gonna come back to real life. That was the expectation of everybody around me. And to be honest, that was my expectation, because I only went to Ecuador with a 60-day plan, right? Ecuador turned into 83 days and Mexico turned into almost 6 months, right? So instead of being gone 2 months, I was gone almost 9. So everybody's like, okay, I know you're dealing with stuff, but what are you really doing? And when are you coming back? And I believe, honestly, in hindsight, I believe that I knew I wasn't coming back because I had purged 90% of my stuff when I went to Ecuador. My daughter kept asking me,
Okay.
Mom, why are you getting rid of this and why are you doing that? And aren't you going to save this? And I said, no, I have no need for any of that. I felt like I needed a fresh start. Little did I know how much of a fresh start I needed. So, just purging material things that had emotional attachments to them was, it was unnerving for a little while. And then I leaned into it. I'm like, well, I can always get more things, right? But what I can't replace is time. So I shared many of the things that were important to me, like my artwork and jewelry, with the people who were closest to me. And I said, just take care of them until I ask for them again. Give them life while I'm gone. And so then they started
Mm-hmm.
to kind of, oh, she might not be coming back for real, for real. When I called and said I was going to Mexico, it was life changing, because everybody, including myself, expected me to be back to normal, healed in 60 days. And my silly self, because we do it so often, we carry the bags really well. We carry the weight so well. Sometimes people don't even realize that we're carrying it. I thought I could do it in 60 days. All brand new, everything's fixed. That's all I need. So people were like, when you coming back? When are you going to get it together? And now everybody's like, well, just where are you? you know the
Right.
conversation is completely different now. I said on one interview that one of my biggest accomplishments personally was when my brother, who just could not fathom what I was doing with house sitting, when he said to me this year, he said, I finally realized that if I want to see you, I'm going to have to find you in the world. You're not coming back to the basketball games and graduations and all the things, because that was my life, right? It was very family oriented. For him to
Yeah.
realize it means I've set my boundaries and they are respected now.
Isn't that wonderful though? Isn't it wonderful though when your family is able to get it? I can relate because my sister told me, my younger sister told me a few weeks ago. She said, "I've got my passport application."
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's
So
awesome.
I know she's coming to visit me. It's a wonderful thing. Listen, you have developed the moniker the Gallavanting Grandma. Can you talk to me about how that came about and tell us about your special traveling friend,
My special
your
traveling what? I'm
granddaughter,
sorry. Oh,
your
most
your special
definitely.
traveling friend.
Listen, my granddaughter Layla, today is her birthday. She's 9 today. So happy birthday, Layla. Yes, Layla has grown up over the past 3 years as a co-house sitter. She loves pets. She loves animals. So this is a perfect lifestyle for her. Whenever I can, I try and spend the summer vacations, some of her summer vacation with her on house sits. We did 3 weeks this year in Puerto Rico on a house sit where she was just the cat whisperer. And so the name really, I was always grandma, right? My daughter said to me, she says, Ma, you always gallivanting somewhere. You're like the gallivanting grandma. And I said, well, I am the gallivanting grandma. And so they named me, my daughter and my granddaughter, and it stuck. And nobody else was doing the gallivanting grandma. So I trademarked it and I embody it just the same way I embody Diamond Crystal. I am the gallivanting grandma. And I love it because it gives me an opportunity to expose my only grandchild to different ways of life. There are some sits that are absolute luxury, and I am so just blessed to be able to expose her to that. Others are more rooted and grounded in local communities, and she gets to experience children from all walks of life through house sitting. And of course, then her love of pets is also met. So it's just the best of all worlds for my family. Yeah.
I wanted to say we have Marla Jackson from Lawrence, Kansas, is calling to say hello, sisters.
Hey,
Marla
Marla.
Jackson is the founder of the National National African American Quilters Convention. She had a fabulous conference this summer, which I was able to participate in. She is an amazing, amazing, amazing woman, and she's going to be coming to Mexico soon. So thank you, Marla,
Wonderful.
for tuning in. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. Thank
Um,
you.
so how important is it? How important is it that we expose our children and our grandchildren to travel? How important is that?
Vital. Vital. I mean, especially if you are rooted in the United States. You know, the toxicity of the United States, and if you're raising Black grandchildren, you need to expose them to the world so that they can understand that they are more than just skin color. Because in the United States, that is what is seen first. That is how you're treated. That determines so much of what life can be like based on just your skin color. When you go outside the United States, oh my gosh! I mean, you know, people see you as a person. You're allowed to be. You're allowed to be, and exposing children to that very early, I think, is paramount in making them well-rounded individuals, just good humans who have mutual respect for other cultures, regardless of what the skin color is. You add then, you know, the cultural experiences, and you add learning a language and all the good things that come along with that. It's a win for the children. I think it's vital.
One of the things that my parents, the message my parents gave us, both directly and indirectly, was that travel was an important part of our education. You learn so much
Yeah,
through travel, just as you
yeah.
said, cultures and nuances, different ways of being. Geography, I always love geography, and geography just comes alive when you're traveling. If
Yes.
there are just so many benefits, and there's so many health benefits to travel
Oh,
as well.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let me tell you a funny story about learning. So, when I first started this journey, and I'm sharing it with Layla, and you know, they do everything digital in school now. So, she's got an iPad and a computer and all those things. And she would always ask me, "So, Grandma, where are you?" And I would say, "Do you have your iPad? Get it and go to Google Earth." And we would together see exactly where it
Awesome.
was. So she was learning just through the fact that she wanted to know where her grandma was. So I took that as an opportunity, a teaching moment, right? Then when she realized that I wasn't coming back to the family setting as she had known it her whole life, she got really sad one day. She was talking to me. She says, "Grandma, I just want to ask you a question." She said, "Are you homeless?" And I said, "No, baby, I'm not homeless." And you know, her little face was all sad and everything. I said, "Take out your iPad and I want you to Google global nomad." And you know, we spelled it together. She typed it in, and I'm just watching her face change as she's reading it. And she looked up from the iPad with this huge smile on her face, and she said, "Oh my God, Grandma, you live everywhere." So let's change the perspective, right? Because if I wanted a home base, if I wanted to be tethered, I certainly could, thank God, right? But this is a lifestyle I've chosen for this part of my
Mhm.
life's journey. And for her to now embrace it is just icing on my cake right now. Yeah.
One of the things that was so special to me when you were in Chapala was how, when it was time for you to leave, you invited us over and you gave away the things that you had accumulated. I just thought that was, the fact that you're keeping things in balance. You
Yeah.
get new things and you give things. You get and you give. So we all got, some of your treasures. I've got that bad black jumpsuit in here that I'm going to be wearing next week to salsa class.
Okay. Yes, I love it. I love it. And you know, you asked me earlier about my faith, and you know, it kind of dictates how I move through this world. I have always believed that to whom much is required, much is given, much is required. And so I've been given a lot. I'm not saying monetarily, financially, materialistically, but I have been given a lot in this world. And so I feel like it is my responsibility to pay it forward. So What am I going to just hoard again and keep things that I can't travel with? When I left Chapala, I was like, okay, I'm going all around the world. I can't take these things with me. What do I need them for? They've expired. So
Right.
I don't add to my suitcases, I replace. So what I give away that allows me to pick up something else beautiful in another country and keep it moving. And I do leave something in every country that I visit. Everywhere I go, they've got something. Yeah.
So since we were together in Chapala, where have you been?
Okay. Other parts of Mexico. But I went back to the States after I left Mexico and spent some time with the family, got all my boundaries set, had the conversations that needed to be had, especially with my daughter, because that 8 months, 9 months away was unexpected. And then I've been to Ecuador, been to Panama twice, Guatemala, uh, Colombia, Portugal twice, Spain twice, Morocco, Puerto Rico, Costa Rica twice, Uruguay, Argentina. I think I covered them all. And now I'm in Barbados. I have been to a few Caribbean countries before, but I had never visited Barbados. So I'm here now for about 40 days.
Wow, that's you have been getting around, Miss Gallivanter. You've been getting around.
Yes, I have. And it's all because of global house sitting. I could not have done it to the extent that I have in these past almost 3 years if it had not been for house sitting. Because with house sitting, it is an exchange of services for accommodations. So sometimes you are
Hmm.
watering the plants and taking in the mail. Other times you have pet care responsibilities. Other times, you're just looking after the house. So if it was not for house sitting, I would not have been able to travel as extensively. And when I say I've been to some countries twice, it's because there are house sits that are available that wanted me back, and I enjoyed the country, so I went back. Did I say Colombia? Because Colombia is loved right now. Oh, Colombia is loved.
Yes. You said something about. Oh gosh, I lost my train. I know what I was going to ask you. What have you learned about yourself throughout these experiences?
The first thing I learned, and I hope you're okay with a little bit of cussing because I do cuss a lot. But first thing I learned, Sonia, I am a badass. I am that chick. Like, give me a red cape and let me put it on, because 3 years ago, you could
Yeah.
never have told me that I would be able to successfully navigate all these foreign countries by myself. I had been a married woman for the majority of my adult life. So I could never have even fathomed, going all around the world by myself, and feeling good about it, putting my faith in front of fear, right? I don't know the language. I don't know anybody in these countries, but I'm going, and I'm enjoying, and I'm meeting people, and I'm picking up tribe in every country that I go to, and I'm excited to see the rest of the world. So that is the main thing, is that I can now say I trust my intuition. Not only do I trust her, I know how to listen to her. I can hear her voice. And before I
Hmm.
started on this journey, I could not hear her. I didn't even recognize her when she was talking to me, because I had so many other outside influences. But now I hear her voice clearly and I trust her. And I move on that.
Well, that says so much, and that's related. That's also obviously directly, inversely related to your faith as well.
Yeah,
It's one thing to talk about faith, but there's no faith if you're not exercising that muscle. So yeah.
bottom line, you gotta walk the walk. A lot of people talk it, but they're in the same space. If you don't start walking confidently in the direction of your dreams, then are you really showing faith? right? Because faith is unseen. I didn't know what was ahead, but I did have faith that it was going to be good and it was all going to work in my favor. That much I had faith in. I didn't know the how, the why, or the when, but I did know that the ancestors were in agreement on this part of my journey and that I was covered.
Hmm.
I was covered from above. And so I walk in that. Not to say that I don't have, anxiety sometimes about going to a new place or whatever. That's natural because it's the unfamiliar, right? But never do I allow it to stop me in my tracks. It doesn't, stop me from doing what I want to do.
How how what am I trying to say? There's so many things I want to ask you.
Uh-huh.
Um, what would you say to encourage other people that may be just on the verge, not sure, I don't want to disappoint I mean, what word would you to say to that woman right now who's listening, who's thinking, can I do that and should I try it?
You should absolutely try it because you owe it to yourself. And you owe it to yourself to put self first. So if you're still asking the question, what do I say to my family and what are my friends going to think, then your focus is out of alignment. You got to align with you
Mm-hmm.
first because when you look in the mirror and you say all is good, then you can project that out. I talk to a lot of women in counseling sessions and they ask similar questions like, how do I set boundaries and how do I start to say no? And I'm like, well, you got to start practicing in the mirror. Say it to yourself until it rolls off your tongue. No, that no longer serves me. That's not really good for me. I don't have, that's not going to work for me. Continue to practice that, but you got to put yourself first. So if I would say anything, put yourself first and determine what it is that's important to you. Whatever you've put off, whatever you thought that you couldn't do, make that your priority and take steps in that direction every day. Start with a posture of gratitude where you are right now. You got so many things going on in your life that you should be grateful for. Just the fact that you're alive and well. So start there. And I think gratitude opens up the portal to positivity and opportunities.
It absolutely does. And my next question that I wanted to ask you is, are there things, have you developed, or what kind of practice have you developed on the road for your own well-being and stability? Obviously giving gratitude is one of those things, but how do you keep yourself together while you're out and about in the world, quote unquote, being unmoored? What are the practices that work for you?
The biggest practice, again, is just starting every day from a posture of gratitude. And I do have a gratitude journal that I'm pretty religious about writing in it on a daily basis. You start with the things that you're grateful for and why. Not just that you're grateful for them, but why. So that's a gratitude journal that's available on my website. So journaling is a big part of keeping myself grounded and focused. And then just words of affirmation on a regular basis. You can do this. Others have done it before. You're empowered. And that keeps you from getting into imposter syndrome and blocking your own blessings. When you talk positively to yourself, the things that you use as your password. And I think I've written a blog about this. My passwords are all affirmations and things that I want to come to fruition. So if I got to log into my bank account, I'm like abundance. You know what I mean? That's
Mhm.
something like that. That is a constant reminder of where you want to go and what it is in your life. So that keeps me grounded. It really does.
I think that's so important to, the words that we're speaking over ourselves, over our lives, over our families' lives. We give life to those things that we pay attention to. I absolutely agree.
Agree.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep. The power of life and death is in the tongue. And so, if you're telling yourself
Yes.
what you can't do or what you're not, I don't deserve this. You know, people would say, get gifts, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't deserve this. This is so wonderful. Yes, you do deserve it. I deserve all good things.
Yes.
All good things, right?
Yes.
So, exceedingly abundantly.
Absolutely.
That's how I live my life in expectation. Exceedingly abundantly above anything I could ever ask or think. I anticipate that on a daily basis.
Ask or think.
That's right. I anticipate it. I expect good things every single day. Whether that's just a bird that I've never seen before or an experience I've never had. I expect something wonderful every day.
So, speaking of birds, can you tell us a little bit about the tree frogs that we're listening to right now?
Can you hear the tree frogs? They're singing a
Absolutely.
nighttime lullaby. Yeah, they are singing a lullaby. Absolutely. It's funny because I was in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has tree frogs that will lullaby you to death, or every night you just going to sleep to that music. Costa Rica has the monkeys, so you're going to hear that. And now I'm in Barbados, and the frogs are out there doing a lullaby as well. So these are just some of the sights and sounds and just the norms of being in a different country, right? When you go to Mexico, Mexico is lively and vibrant, and they celebrate everything even when there's nothing to celebrate seemingly, right? There's always something going on. So these are the kind of things that you have to manage your expectations when you're traveling, and embrace it because it is different. Don't complain about it because it's different. Embrace it because it's different, and then you can find the beauty of it. So yeah, that's a good like
Right.
background music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Well, I would like you to please take a few moments to let us know what you're up to. Tell us about the retreat that you just had and what's coming up for you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That has been really one of the highlights of this journey is being able to intentionally connect with like-minded sisters who are looking to embrace a new journey in their lives and to put together a 4-day retreat where we come together to inspire, to encourage, and to rest in wellness. So that's what we did in San Jose, Costa Rica last week. It was a labor of love and joy. Every single vendor partner that I worked with was either a Tika sister from Costa Rica or African American. So when I say it was a sisters wanderlust wellness retreat, all Black women, all women of color. And it was
Hmm.
just something beautiful to behold. So we had an expat sharing circle last Saturday night, and I think my count was about 12. Well, I will tell you that about 45 minutes into it, we had about 25 women sitting around the pool from all walks of life, from former governors of Costa Rica to former beauty queens to women who were thinking about going to Costa Rica to live, women who have been there for a couple of years with or without children. It was just a big sister hug. And it was really the highlight of the entire weekend. So I was happy to pull that together. And I'm going to do it again in 2025. Do it again in 2025. Not Costa Rica, but a little bit longer, bigger in breadth. And we're going what I call back to the water because the statistics show us that 95% of Black women cannot swim for whatever reasons, there are a lot of them. So we are going to try and decrease that gap by having a swim retreat next year.
Oh, I love that. I love the idea of that. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. I mean,
Hello,
I think
buenos tardes, buenos noches, Savvy Soldier, for joining in. Thank you so much for calling in. We are
yes,
interviewing Diamond Crystal, Gallavanting Grandma, this evening. Thanks for tuning in. I Do you have anything else coming up on the near future? Where's your next? Do you know what your next outfit is going to be?
Yes, I am going to California, returning to the United States when I leave Barbados. This is a return sit. It is a paid sit, and I will be in California for about 45 days. Yeah, so I'll catch up with some folks in the States, hopefully there. And my schedule this year is a lot less stringent than it had been my first 2 years. My first year house
Okay.
sitting, I wanted to prove to myself that I could live for a whole year without paying rent or mortgage anywhere. I had to prove that to myself. And once I did, I decided that now I can build in a little bit more time off, a little bit more time in between house sits. And so as I'm entering year 3, I'm able to do things like host a retreat as opposed to house sitting. And right now I'm on 10 days of just rest and relaxation as opposed to going directly into a house sit. So there's just a level of flexibility that I just love through the world of house sitting.
Diamond, Savvy Soldier says, I love the idea of a water retreat.
All
And
right.
Michelle
Hopefully we'll see
Mybell
it.
59 Michelle Mybell 59 says, Buenos tardes todos. Buenos tardes,
Yes.
Michelle. Buenos
Buenos
tardes.
Aires.
Um,
Absolutely.
um,
So yeah, my retreats are
Hindi,
really.
can
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you go?
My
No,
retreats
go
are
ahead.
really. Thank you, thank you. Really built on things that I feel I need and could use at some point in my life. And so the wellness retreat it was a wanderlust retreat. So it's all of women who are traveling all over the world. Stop and give yourself some rest, purposeful rest, and wellness. That was the premise behind this one. When I started thinking about the fact that I almost drowned in Portugal last year at the beach, I'm like, it's ridiculous. You need to tackle this fear of not being able to swim, this fear that you have of the water. And so it's a personal desire that is backed up by the statistics, right? When 90%, more than 90% of us don't swim, there's a need for it. This is a basic life skill we all should have. So let's address it from a mental, emotional, and then physical perspective. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to do it in luxury and style. So once I decide that I want to do something personally, I open it up to the sisterhood, and the sisterhood never disappoints.
Can we go back to how you almost drowned in Portugal? What's the story, please?
Girl. Okay. So I'm in Portugal. This is my first time. I'm in the Algarve. And, I'm taking these little junkets because I'm on a house sit. So I'm taking these little junkets to the outlying islands. And I'm on the ferry. And, I'm by myself, right? So everybody else is coupled up. We get off the ferry and I go in one direction. I'm looking for the best place to kind of lay out on the beach and take some pictures, right? So I got my phone. And you know how we are, right? We go do it for the gram. Got my phone holding it up and I'm backing up to the water, but I'm not going too far, I don't think, because I know I can't swim. So I get right to the shoreline and I take one back step back further, and there was nothing underneath my feet. Nothing. And I went
Wow.
under. And so now I don't pick the perfect spot where it's all secluded and everything so I can get pictures without people looking at me. Thank God. There was this man who came like David Hasselhoff across the beach, saw me because I'm holding my phone up like, somebody, please, I don't want to drown in the Mediterranean. Nobody knows I'm here, right? So he jumped in with his Speedos and he rescued me out of there. And I'm telling you, I got the video. I'm going to put it on the website for the retreat because I'm literally underwater, bubbles coming up and everything. I was gone. I was gone. It was from that point, I'm like, this can't happen again. This is ridiculous. I could not, I didn't have that basic light skill. And I wasn't even in deep water. But my fear would have drowned me. You see what I'm saying? My fear would have drowned me.
Mhm.
Yeah, true story. I thank God the
Michelle
whole way
Mybell.
back.
Michelle Mybell says, this is Michelle from New York. And Michelle Mybell 59 says, I agree with you. That's why I forced myself to learn to swim as an adult.
Yes, yes, it is
Yeah.
absolutely necessary. You know, we do all these water activities, right? We go on cruises, we go on ferries,
Mm-hmm.
we're always in and around the water, right? And we don't think about it. We trust the people who are driving the vessel. We trust whoever might be on the front of the jet ski because we want to have fun. We got on our life jacket so we're not worried about it. But shouldn't we be? I mean, we're intelligent women. We can conquer anything. And so we are, as a group, we are going to conquer our fear of water. We're going to do it 25 women at a time. That's my goal, 25 women at a time.
I think it's a novel approach. It's a great niche, and there is certainly a need. I was in Chicago not long ago, and there's some beautiful yachts and boats that are riding on Lake Michigan, but one of
Yes,
them capsized a couple of weeks ago, and a crew member lost his life. So it's serious stuff. It's very serious stuff.
it's serious. That's right. That's right. So you can't take it for granted. You have to,
Yeah.
if you can conquer the fear, then you can be on your way to survival. But you can't do it with the fear. So that's what we're going to conquer.
Savvy Soldier says, I was in my 40s when I took my first swimming lessons. So yeah.
Kudos. Yes, yes,
Mm.
kudos.
So
Absolutely.
is there anything else that you want us to know about what you're doing, what's coming up before we close? It's just been such a great conversation, and I'm so glad that we had this time to talk tonight.
I am as well. It's been a long time to be caught up. And since we are talking just as sister girls, let me just say kudos to you and my Chapala sisters for your endeavor, your B&B there. I'm excited. I can't wait to get back and spend some time there and see everything that you're doing. So congratulations on that. I'm just overjoyed for you guys. And I really do believe in shared accommodations. As we move forward towards retirement, fixed income, money is a big thing. And I believe if many more of us would embrace a shared living situation, that we could stretch dollars and build community and have safety nets for one another as we age. Everybody does not have a spouse. Everybody doesn't want to live alone. But how do you tackle this? So it's something that I'm very, very passionate about. So I would say keep checking my website for shared accommodations. I tell people, you look at it like we've all loved and enjoyed the show The Golden Girls, right? But let's not forget that they were sharing a home, right? They all had their own
Absolutely.
suites and everything, but they had their own built-in community. Let's think about Living Single with Queen Latifah and the ladies. They were all living in the same space. It was shared accommodations. And so, it's just an option for us to consider, like I said, as we get into fixed income situations and we get into situations where maybe solo travel and solo living is not optimal for us, health concerns, whatever the case may be. So I'm very passionate about that, and I am working diligently to put together something that would serve the community in that capacity.
Well, kudos to you for that. It's an idea whose time has come. Um, I actually live in a shared living community here in Mexico. I love it. I love.
Yes,
We all have our private spaces, and then there are communal spaces, and there's more of that to come. It's going to be necessary. Statistics are showing that more and more women are choosing to live alone. Not man hating, none of that. It's just that as women have more choices and less
yes,
responsibilities to take care of their children, and after their caregiving years are over, more women are just choosing to live alone due to the peace that it provides. Nothing
yes.
against men. We love men, but
Love men.
it's another option that we can choose from. So
Exactly.
I just want to thank you so much, Diamond Crystal, for coming on tonight. You've been a great guest. Looking forward to our next conversation, and it'll be good to see you again when you come through, or when I come down, whatever that way. I'll be getting to South America this coming year, so hopefully I can get to see you down there.
That sounds really, really good. Thank you for having me on, sis. I really appreciate it. And as I say to everybody, I'll see you somewhere in the world.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to
Thank
have you
you.
wait a few moments. We're going to close out. After I close out, just stay on for a few moments, and we're going to let the tape to allow the tape to catch up. I just want
Okay.
to say to everybody watching, I hope you enjoyed this session with Diamond. It's been my pleasure. And as she mentioned, if you're in the Lakeside area, we are your soft landing for Lakeside, Mexico. You can come and visit us at sojournersvistadelago.com. We've got some great specials coming up for October and November, December, and the holidays. We would love to see you here. You can also please subscribe to this YouTube channel, Mind and Mana. Check out Diamond Crystal. Diamond, what is your website address?
www.thegallivantinggrandma.com.
Check her out on her website. And I look to see you all this time next week. Take care. Blessings to all. And it's been a great talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.